You know that huge question we all ask ourselves, who am I? Well, what if the way we usually answer it is based on a fundamental mistake? Today, we're going to dig into a totally different way to think about our identity. And honestly, it might just change how you see yourself entirely. No, really, just stop for a second and think about it. If I were to ask you right here, right now, who are you? What's the very first answer that pops into your head? Chances are, if you're like most of us, you'd probably reach for a label, right? A role. I'm a writer, or I'm a doctor, a parent. We tend to define ourselves by these parts we play, the different hats we wear. Do you see the pattern there? Every single one of those answers, it's a noun. We instinctively search for some kind of solid thing, a label we can point to and say, "Yup, that's me." Okay, but here's the twist. What if that whole approach is just wrong? What if looking for a noun to define a living, changing being is kind of like trying to capture the wind in a jar? It just doesn't work. What if you aren't a thing at all? So let's break this down. A noun, right? It's static. It's a thing, a label. But a verb is all about motion. It's dynamic. It's a process, an action. It's something that is happening right now. And this little shift, this jump from noun to verb, well, that's the core idea we're going to explore. So let's get right into the heart of this idea and see how we can maybe shift our own perception from seeing ourselves as a static object to a dynamic action. And here it is, the central idea in just 5 words. You are a verb, not a noun. It sounds so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It suggests that at your very core, you are a doing, not just a static being. And when you really think about it, it just makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, you're constantly changing, growing, experiencing new things. So how could one single fixed label possibly capture the reality of who you are from one moment to the next? Okay, so if we aren't a noun, how in the world do we even begin to grasp this? How can we understand something that's always in flux, always moving? Well, let's use an analogy. Think about love. You can't really define what it is. You can't hold it in your hand or put it in a box. We only understand it by what it does. Its very nature is the action of loving. And that's just a brilliant illustration of this point. We understand love through its actions. Love is a verb. So in the same way, maybe we can only truly understand ourselves by what we do. To take this a step further, let's explore this really powerful metaphor, the whirlpool in a river. And stick with me, because this is going to help us understand a fascinating philosophical idea called non-duality. All right, so just picture a river in your mind. And a river isn't some static thing, right? Its very essence is that it flows. It's in constant movement. And then, out of that constant flow, a really distinct pattern emerges, a whirlpool. You can see it. It has a specific form, a location, its own unique look. This is where that idea of non-duality comes in. It literally means not two. The whirlpool and the river aren't two separate things. The whirlpool is simply the river doing something, rivering, in a particular place. Its appearance and its source are one and the same reality. Let's dig into that for a sec. The whirlpool has its own unique form, right? It might even catch some leaves or twigs that make it look different from any other part of the river. But here's the key question. Is it ever separate from the river? Of course not. It is the river, just flowing in a really specific pattern. And this form, it's always temporary. The river flows into it, which creates the whirlpool. For a while, the river flows as the whirlpool. And then eventually, the river flows out of it, and the form just dissolves back into the whole. The only constant is the flow itself, not the temporary shape it takes. Okay, so if we are the whirlpool, this temporary, unique form, then what's the river? What is this fundamental flow that we're all a part of? Well, in ancient Indian philosophy, this fundamental flow has a name, prana, and its meaning is just beautifully simple, constant movement. It's a perfect description because, again, it's not a thing, it's a process. What's so fascinating is how this mirrors modern science. Scientists call this fundamental flow energy. And if you ask a physicist, so what is energy? They'll tell you they don't really know. They can only describe it by what it does, its effects, its transformations. And there's that idea again. It's the unifying principle. Whether we call it love or prana or energy, We can only truly understand it by what it does. Its action defines it.
All right, let's bring this all the way back around and re-ask our original question, but now with this entirely new framework in mind.
So, after all of that, thinking of yourself as a verb, as a temporary whirlpool in a universal flow, let's ask it one more time. Who are you? The answer this framework gives us is as profound as it is simple. You aren't just the whirlpool. You are the entire river. You are that. You are the flow, the prana, the energy that is temporarily taking the unique and incredible form of you. And this isn't some newfangled idea. Think of phrases like, I am that I am, or the concept of being aware. These are all just different attempts to answer the question without resorting to a noun. It's a way of knowing yourself not by thinking about it, but simply by being that flow. So let's leave you with one final thought to chew on. If you are a verb, if you are defined not by what you are, but by what you do, then maybe the most important question isn't, who are you? But rather, what are you doing?